Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your daily Rare update, where we talk about the top stories at rare.us for the past few days. In our first clip tonight, you can see Joe Biden wandering confused to the podium, late as always. Take a look at that clip here.
Well, I guess we're actually technically afternoon.
In our next story, you can see the president's son, Hunter, arriving for his trial in Delaware. Take a look at that clip here. And our last story tonight is a bit of a long clip. Former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki claimed that Trump isn't actually rich in an unhinged rant on her show. Take a look at that clip here.
Of all the lies that Donald Trump has told during his time in public life, and there have been many, none have been more prolific and more flagrant than his lies about his personal wealth. It has been the core of not only how he presented himself in the New York business world, but a core of how he has run for president multiple times. Trump has long portrayed himself as a self-made billionaire, a guy who supposedly started out with virtually nothing and became the flashy owner of a sprawling real estate empire, a guy whose wealth was apparently so vast he could leverage concessions from contractors, banks, and insurers, and a guy with enough bravado and swagger to plaster his name on buildings and land himself his very own reality TV show. All of that made up the brand that has long been central to Trump's public identity. It fed the presumption of great wealth and success, but it was all built on a myth. First of all, we've learned that Trump originally lied his way onto the Forbes annual list of America's richest people back in the 1980s, which is a very weird thing to do. We learned that his net worth was greatly overstated and that the value of the Trump brand was probably just a fraction of what he claimed it was. And it's well documented that he was hardly a self-made billionaire. He got his wealth from his father. Despite those revelations, Trump's self-made myth hasn't posed much of a risk to his livelihood or to his fortune. By and large, he's gotten away with it. In fact, Trump has long portrayed his lies as relatively minor exaggerations, something he once referred to as truthful hyperbole, just an innocent form of self-promotion. That's all it is. But this week, a judge in New York had another name for all of it: fraud. Trump wasn't just lying about his wealth to brandish his image. He was lying on official documents as well, inflating the value of his assets to banks and insurance companies and exaggerating his net worth by billions of dollars. And you don't need to be an accountant, I'm certainly not, to understand how ridiculous Trump's claims were. For example, according to the lawsuit, Trump's financial form showed that in just 4 years, the value of his apartment in Trump Tower had just magically increased by 400%, magically. By 2015, he claimed it was worth a whopping $327 million. Just to put this in the absurd terms that it definitely deserves, that is more than any price any person in U.S. history has ever paid for an apartment or home anywhere in this country. Trump also valued Mar-a-Lago as high as $740 million, which is about 10 times more than its likely value. In his ruling Tuesday, the judge found that Trump's financial statements, quote, clearly contain fraudulent valuations that defendants use in business. And he said Trump's arguments to the contrary were based in a fantasy world, not the real world. Now, this case is still going to trial tomorrow to determine what kind of damages Trump will have to pay. That's the big question. But the judge has already struck the most devastating blow that could have come out of this lawsuit, something experts call the, quote, corporate death penalty. He ordered that Trump's business licenses be rescinded in New York State and that Trump's real estate holdings be put in receivership. It means that Trump could lose control of the key properties that have defined the Trump organization and him in many ways for decades. Here's the thing. It's not a surprise. He's a fraud. We've known that for a while. It's just a surprise that it took so long to catch up with him, because about 12 years ago, Trump gave a sworn deposition that should have raised a glaring red flag. In a lawsuit over the value of his personal wealth, Trump claimed this. He said, quote, my net worth fluctuates. It goes up and down with the markets and with attitudes and with feelings, even my own feelings. You heard that right. He claimed that his wealth was based on his feelings. Wouldn't that be nice? When asked how he put a number on his net worth, Trump said it's based on, quote, my general attitude at the time that the question may be asked. And as I say, it varies, okay? In other words, he admitted out loud under oath that his numbers are a complete invention, completely detached from objective reality, but nobody in authority actually did anything about it until...
I want to thank you guys if you've made it all the way through. Thank you for watching your Rare Daily Briefing. Make sure to like and follow for more.